Welcome to Rise and Shine, your daily business tech boost with me, Charly Leetham. If you're a small business owner looking to simplify technology and get real, actionable advice from someone with 35 years of IT experience, you're in the right place. Every episode, I'll dive into tools and systems like email, CRM, marketing and tracking, and I'll break them down into bite-sized tips you can use straight away. Your time is valuable, so let's get straight to the point. It's time to work smarter, not harder. Rise and shine. Eat your dose of business tech inspiration with me, Charly Leetham. Episode number 605 today, and we're going to be talking about what happens if your SSL certificate expires. Just to recap, I've spoken about SSL and I've spoken about SSL certificates several times on this podcast, but SSL certificates are really the backbone of your secure websites. It's now the backbone of the internet, basically. They prove that your site is legitimate and they encrypt the traffic between you and your visitors. Now, I'm not going to go into the technicalities of that. That statement doesn't mean that the data itself is encrypted. It means the connection between you, your website, and your visitors is encrypted. We can cover, there are episodes on that. But what actually happens if your SSL certificate expires? Does it break things? What happens? So let's break down the immediate effects when your SSL certificate expires and you don't renew it, why expiry can catch people off guard, and how to fix it or prevent it. So the immediate effects of an expired SSL certificate is that you're going to get browser warnings, or your visitors are going to get warnings in your browsers. As soon as your SSL expires or SSL certificate expires, visitors are met with security warnings. Chrome, Safari, Firefox will show a full-page error telling users that the site is unsafe. Most people will not click past that, and that's an instant loss of trust. It's also an instant loss of traffic. You may not ever get them back as well. Loss of HTTPS encryption also occurs. So without a valid certificate, your site no longer runs on HTTPS. If your visitors decide to go the step further and say, that's okay, I trust this site, the data is sent via HTTP and it's no longer encrypted end to end. That connection between the PC and or the computer, the browser, and your website is no longer encrypted. Means that traffic is sent in the clear. It makes it easier for attackers to intercept or modify data. It also makes it easier for them to sniff out data like your logins and your passwords and such, because they're all sent in the clear. An expired SSL certificate will mean that transactions get blocked. Payment gateways will not process through an expired certificate. Your checkout will fail and your customers won't be able to buy. It's an immediate and direct revenue loss to you. It's also a loss of trust. If people can't buy from you and they want to buy it then and there, they're going to find someone else that they can buy from. So your block transactions are a problem. There is SEO impacts from an expired SSL certificate. Google uses HTTPS as a ranking signal. It is one of the things that it uses when it's trying, when it decides whether to rank your site, whether to list your site, and whether to rank it highly or not. An expired SSL certificate doesn't just cost you the visitors with warnings, it doesn't just cost you a loss in revenue, it can also push your site down in the search results. May also mean that the search engines flag your site as unsafe. Email, API failures, all those sorts of things. It doesn't just affect your websites, it might affect your email servers. I am sure you have, I know I've had people contact me and say, what does this message mean? A pop-up come up on your mail client saying, do you want to accept this certificate? Or this certificate is no longer valid and you can't connect to the website, we can't connect to your mail server. So mail servers use SSL certificates, APIs, application programming interfaces, the things that we use to code to connect and integrate third-party systems, use SSL certificates. Apps on your phone require SSL certificates to be able to work. Once your certificate expires, all of this starts to fail. All of these things start to fail. Suddenly, email stops going through and you start getting pop up messages saying there's no longer a valid certificate. We won't send the messages. CRMs stop integrating, shopping integrations stop. Cats and dogs living together in harmony. Yeah, okay, that's a bit of an overkill, but you get the idea. There's lots of things that an SSL certificate affects. And it's not only just that the SSL certificate fails and expires, it's everything that uses it stops working. So how can expiry happen and how does it get missed? Certificates have lifespans. SSL certificates only have a specific lifespans. Public SSL certificates, the ones that browsers trust, that applications, that your apps use, etc., have a maximum of 398 days validity. It's just over a year, so renewal becomes, the term here is frequent. It's once a year. Once a year, you've got to renew your public SSL certificate, or your public SSL certificate has to be renewed. I'm going to couch it in those terms. These are the ones that sit between your browsers and your websites, okay? There are other types of SSL certificates that sit like server to server. Cloudflare uses an origin server certificate. I'm not going to cover it, but if you see something that says, oh, this has got 15 plus years on it, or it's got 15 years on it, that's not a public SSL certificate. So how do they expire? Well, they expire. They do expire. They come to the end of their lifespan, the 398 days maximum, and they expire. Some hosts don't auto-renew. Some providers don't auto-renew. In fact, if you have paid someone for a certificate, if you've gone to a certificate provider and paid them for your certificate, it won't auto-renew. It generally won't auto renew. You need to go in and say, yes, I want to renew this certificate. That means it's on you to track the expiry date, make sure the new certificate is purchased or the certificate is renewed, and if it needs to be updated, the new certificate updated on your server. The providers will send you, typically you will get reminders that it's about to expire and you need to go and do something with it, but it's on you to do it. It might also be that your domain or your hosting changes. So if you move to a new host or you move to a new registrar, it can break the renewal automation. It could also mean that you need to get a certificate. You still own the certificate, but you have to get it reissued for the new hosting provider. Businesses assume that it's covered when this happens and it's not. So it expires quietly in the background, and then you go to try and access your website and you start to get all sorts of messages. As I said, reminders are sent. It's really, really easy to miss the reminders in your email. That's why I would suggest that you actually put a note in your calendar to say that your SSL expires in 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, a week, today. Do something about it, okay? Because you can miss the reminders that come in via email. It's also possible that you've had multiple certificates installed on your servers. It might be that you've had one for a subdomain, you might have one for multiple domains, multiple ones for different domains, and you've forgotten which one is which. It is so easy to do. It's happened to me. So how can you prevent and recover from SSL expiry? Well, enable auto renewal if it's allowable. Just remember that some of them will reissue a certificate and you need to go and reinstall the certificate once it's renewed. Make sure your credit cards are up to date so that when the auto renewal goes through, it will actually bill on the credit card. Make sure you've got space on the credit card. That's one way of doing it. The other way you can do it is to use a service that will auto renew that and handles it all for you. Let's Encrypt offers free SSL certificates that auto renew every 90 days. They're shorter lifespans, but they're completely automated, meaning that you never have to track an expiry. You get an email to say, hey, this is renewed for you. Cloudflare handles all of that. If you've got your DNS managed through Cloudflare, even on the free accounts, they handle all of that for you. That takes it straight out. You don't have to worry about it. Validate renewals. Even with automation, check your site after the renewal. Sometimes the chains are broken, the certificate chains get broken. Sometimes they're misconfigured. As I said, sometimes you need to go and reinstall the certificate or install an updated certificate. Visitors will be seeing the warnings. You won't, because you haven't checked it. So make sure that when the renewal goes through, you go and check that your site is working. This is why I would always put in my calendar that it's due for renewal, even if it's on auto renew. If a certificate does expire, what can you do? Well, you've got to fix it immediately. There's nothing you can do that will go, we'll just ignore it, just take it off and just use HTTP. It's still going to cause you problems. You need to go and renew the certificate or purchase a new one from another provider. You need to get it installed on the hosting provider or your DNS manager. Cloudflare, like I said, Cloudflare handles all this for you. And while all this is in progress, you should be communicating with your customers. This is where social media and your email lists come in really handy. Let them know that you're resolving it. Let them know that there's been a problem. Let them know that you're resolving it. Prioritize restoring secure logins and payment pages first, and then the rest of the site. But yeah, once a certificate expires, the only fix is to go and renew it or go and buy a new one and reinstall it. So an expired SSL certificate isn't just a technical hiccup. It breaks trust, it stops sales, it hurts your SEO, and it can even disrupt your email and integrations and applications. Public SSLs must be renewed at least yearly, while private ones can last longer, but those private ones don't work with browsers. They're not designed for browsers. The solution is simple. Make sure your renewals are automated. Make sure you're monitoring your expiry dates. Use your calendars, use your reminders. Validate your setup once the renewals go through. Don't let something as small as an SSL certificate take your business online. It's small, but it's really, really important. Okay, well, there's another one for you guys to think about. Is there something I have said that has raised questions that I haven't answered? Is there something I've said that you disagree with? What are your own experiences? Have you ever had an SSL certificate expire and not know what to do, and it's been absolutely nauseating while you've tried to work it out? I would love to know your experiences. Come across and join my community, askcharlyleetham.locals.com. It is designed for business owners to ask these sorts of questions and deal with these sorts of things. I'd love to host you over there. You can always leave comments wherever you are watching or listening to these videos. If this video was useful to you, I'd love it if you'd share it with someone or even give it a like. In fact, give it a like and share it with someone. That would be awesome. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell so you find out when I drop more content. Just a reminder that this podcast goes out every other day. So guys, I will see you the day after tomorrow. Bye. Hey there, thanks so much for tuning in to Rise and Shine, your daily business tech boost. I hope today's episode gave you some actionable insights that will make your business tech work smarter for you. If you found value, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other small business owners who could use a daily boost. For more tips, tools, and resources, visit www.askcharlyleetham.com. Until next time, keep rising, keep shining, and let's make tech simple together.